Hello, welcome to my first ever video on the channel. Wow, hooray. Before we get into it, I just want to say this is not the direction my channel is going to be heading in. Jesus Christ, I think I do have a speech impediment. But it's not going to be where it's heading in. It's going to be all sorts of different shit. Mainly, other than this, mainly it's going to be gaming and talking about mostly the NBA. But that could change at any moment depending on what I feel like. Like, one day I think maybe, I don't know, I'll do a video about Assassin's Creed. The next day I want to do a video of me doing a comedy skit. It's just, it'll be make this content. So don't think that it's just going to be all the same content. I hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it. So YouTube's a place where creators can enjoy creating content. Any video idea you think of is possible, right? But it's also not that great. It's also a place where some greedy Polish whore will give anyone the big yellow middle finger if you say the word shit. This website has been littered with mistakes that YouTube's higher-ups refuse to call out. And unfortunately, YouTube has grown so big in the entertainment market on the internet that the competitors are virtually non-existent. Basically meaning, nothing's gonna change ever. Today we're going to take a deep dive about YouTube, its many issues, and how everything with this website, well, almost everything, is wrong. I want to preface this video by saying that unless a creator is mentioned in a negative light during this video, there is no disrespect to any of the channels and creators on YouTube, because most of the problems I'm going to mention creators can't control. Susan Wojcicki is the CEO of YouTube, who is so bad at her job that a potato could probably do better than her. One of her many glaring weaknesses is the fact that she is running a company, but she's not actually very good at running a company. And she's not very good at making good decisions that'll actually benefit the people that are helping her run her company. An example of this is with the restricting of the comment sections on certain videos. And I know a few channels have talked about it, especially channels like Diesel Patches, who I really like that channel, by the way. You will see that I bottle most of my commentary sort of like he does, so yay. But basically, YouTube restricted comment sections because they found out there were predatory comments on some of YouTube channels with kids on them. So YouTube wanted to stop the predators in the comment section. But not only was this a blatant fuck you to the creators that got hit with this, most of the channels that got hit with this were not subject to the predatory comments Susan was trying to ban. And to make matters worse, channels like the Ace family that were actually open to these comments because of the way they treat their children and how they make them act, and such as doing things like phallically licking a lollipop, like what the fuck. They didn't do anything about those because they make YouTube the big bucks. They make them money. And so Susan only did this because she wanted the advertisers that were leaving the platform because of this to come back, which is just a really greedy thing to do when you're screwing channels over. Especially channels like, I'll link in here, Special Books for Special Kids, I think it was. I'll link it in the bio. But they got screwed over because YouTube decided that they wouldn't have a comment section anymore. This is a channel, by the way, that quite literally helps people, like, disabled and, like, challenged people. Like, it helps them interact with other people online. It helps them. So for the comment section to be restricted, and their whole interactiveness with the channel, don't you think that's a bit of a shitty idea? Don't you think? So anyway, she ended up fixing some of them, but not before boning half of the YouTube channels in the ass for a few months, which probably had a very negative effect on channels, especially considering The YouTube comment section is the most interactive place on YouTube. That's where people interact. That's where the creators interact. Like, people watch the videos, but they interact with the creators and other people that like the videos as well in the comment section. So when there's no comment section, some people feel like, oh, what's the point? So, yeah, they basically fucked them because she overreacted, and I'm pretty sure that some channels actually haven't been able to get out of it yet, which sucks. And all of this because she owned a garage. I'm not shitting you. She became a CEO because she owned a garage. I'd like to think that that's a joke, but it's not. So let me explain. So basically, the two guys that created Google needed a place to start Google, but they didn't have anywhere. So Susan offered to let them have a place in her garage. So that project that they were doing ended up becoming Google. So they allowed her to be the CEO of the biggest entertainment platform on the internet. That didn't work out well. So, yeah, I guess she owned a garage and now she's literally God. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. YouTube, and particularly their CEO, loves shoving propaganda down people's throats like it's completely unwarranted. And hold up 1 second, I need to grab my phone because it keeps fucking going off. Sorry about that. It's fucking Optus. Fuck you, Optus. Anyways, I'm gonna cut that part out of the video, except for the fuck you, Optus. But YouTube, and particularly their CEO, love to shove propaganda down people's throats, even when it's completely unwarranted. Yeah, like in YouTube YouTube Rewind 2018, when YouTube did a 1 minute and 30-minute special on single moms, working hard for moms, empowering women, and empowering black people and Asians, and fuck man, I'm just kidding, I didn't say that, but just a small point here, and it's not even in the script I'm reading off of, but if they're pushing so hard for women's rights, and gay women's rights, and then black women's rights, don't you think that's gonna alienate the gay white men? Like, I don't have anything against gay people, black people, Asians, anything. I don't have anything against single moms. I don't have anything against women. I just don't have anything against women. But I think it's a bit, you're alienating another group when you're praising one group for doing something that everyone can do. Every man can be gay, just like every woman can be gay. I don't know, any Asian man can do whatever any Asian woman does, except if they live in China. But I'm gonna cut that part out of the video because that's controversial. Like, if you don't, it doesn't bother me personally, like, but if you don't explain your propaganda with both sides, you're going to end up making one side not like your propaganda because they're not being included. That's just how the world works. So, yeah. Also, wouldn't YouTube want to, like, instead of promoting gay people's rights and I'm not saying, like, don't promote gay people's rights in America, but instead of doing all their propaganda about America, why don't they do it about the places where the gay people are getting thrown off cliffs? Like, I feel as though they're trying to encourage this propaganda because they want to make themselves look better, not because they actually care about it. Well, to be fair, that's what most big brand companies do. But to make it seem like that, though, and pushing this propaganda so much when it's not actually really affecting me. There's only, like, homeless Joe a few seats away saying that the Asians took his job, or the black people are taking his job, or whatever. You don't need to worry about homeless Joe. You need to worry about the fucking Taliban and people like that killing women for the hell of it, raping them, and also like with the children as well, but like and throwing gay people off of cliffs, things like that, you know. So don't shove it down our throats with this propaganda about, oh yeah, gay women in America, that's great. Yeah, it is great, but focus on the people that actually don't like that, not the people that not the people that really just couldn't care less, who just like, wahoo, women's rights, I like women, so I'm not gonna treat them like shit because I'm a regular ass human being. So I just feel like there's no juxtaposition on this. Anyways, moving on. I didn't mean to ramble like that, but my problem is that YouTube won't stop with the propaganda. Like, it's so blatantly obvious that they're only pushing it to make themselves look better. But every time they deny it and they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing the same propaganda we've seen a billion times. Like, I think it's just crazy how they don't see it. I don't want to see an LGBTQ propaganda ad every 2 minutes. Like, I'm sure some people, I appreciate it. I think it's great. Good job. I like gay people. I have some friends that are probably gay. But I really just don't understand why you need to push it so hard. Unless you want to get rid of some persona that you don't like them, which you actually have created for yourself, but I'm not going to dive into that until a bit later. Like, pushing this propaganda just doesn't seem like the smart thing to do unless you're trying to get rid of something, which is the topic I'm going to bring up now. Because they push so much LGBTQ, you'd think they're really LGBTQ friendly, right? Wrong. Because YouTube is known to demonetize smaller gay channels that classify as gay, especially if they do, well, things that could be perceived as something only gay people would do. And that's not a shot at gay people at all. Do what you want to do, I don't care. But YouTube goes to the extent to even put anti-gay ads on gay people's videos, which it's just really funny, considering we just talked about how much they like to push LGBTQ propaganda. Whatever, man. Oh yeah, and notice how I said smaller channels? That's because the assholes that are gay, people like Jeffree Star and James Charles, who literally get away with anything on and off YouTube, YouTube's still gonna like them. Because it's all about the money. That's why they push the LGBTQ propaganda so far in the first place. It's because, well, they wanna make more money. They wanna think, yes, this is marketable, let us do this. And, well, yes, a company shouldn't do that, but they don't care. They don't care. But these two guys, they can do anything. Like, James Charles has had so many allegations, and YouTube has done absolutely nothing about him. Because he's famous. But if you strike a smaller gay channel that doesn't even associate itself with, like, the, well, deeper side of, like, being gay, they will demonetize you and put anti-gay ads on your videos. So that's just, the YouTube algorithm literally targets people that aren't as famous. So that's just great. Anyways, moving on to my next point. Their lackluster support team. Jesus fucking Christ. This is going to be a shorter point. But their support team is absolutely incompetent. They're like the Italians in World War II. They're just not very good at doing what their one job. Their one job is to be a support team. It's to help the people who are making them their money. And they're so bad at it, I'm convinced that they're not actually people. I'm convinced there's like 10 people on the support team, and the rest are just computers. Because YouTube will give you a copy strike or a channel strike or a claim or a demonetization sometimes for no reason. And then when you ask them what the hell they gave it to you for, they will literally read the terms and service back to you. Usually in an automated voice, but sometimes a regular person will as well. though I haven't had any experiences with it personally. But I know that one of my friends who runs a YouTube channel, go subscribe to it, by the way, the Gaming Red Panda, link in the description, has been copyright claimed and asked YouTube why, because he's used that song in multiple videos. They literally just read the terms and service back to him. So, anyways, YouTube's lackluster support team is so bad that any of the things I listed above, you will not get a straight answer. You probably get a better chance of, like, some 12-year-old on the internet telling you what the hell you did wrong than the YouTube support team telling you what you did wrong. Like, say this video gets demonetized, and I ask why it's got demonetized, I guarantee you they'll say to me, oh, they'll just read the terms of service back to me. So, that's their lackluster support team. Moving on. They don't call bullshit. They know they have problems, but they don't call them. And it's starting to piss me off. Because no matter how much pleading creators or viewers do, there's absolutely no way YouTube is going to change. Because as long as people are active on their website, and as long as the money's coming in, and as long as they have corporate advertisers to back them, there's no way that it's going to change. There's no way. Because there's always going to be the majority of people who don't understand. And that's not a shot at them. They don't need to understand. They just want to watch their videos. They want to watch their 2-minute crafts. They want to watch their, I don't know, NBA highlights. They want to watch their Pokemon playthroughs. And they don't understand what's happening behind YouTube's walls. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to know what's going on. But when YouTube has creators and viewers pleading with them, they're not going to do it because of this majority. And people make videos about it, but people won't click on them because YouTube probably doesn't want to promote that in their algorithm. So, YouTube doesn't call their bullshit, and it doesn't get called by the creators, because YouTube has such a large fan base that just doesn't understand. It doesn't understand. And that's really sad, because if they understood, maybe they could get why they shouldn't be using YouTube and should be holding it in a positive light. But that'll never happen, because hell, Cocomelon, things like Cocomelon, 100 million subscribers. No matter how many bots they buy, there's always going to be at least a third or a half of their percentage of their viewers that are genuinely people, and most of them are going to be very small. Imagine 50 million people on this. There's probably around a quarter of that actually know what's happening with YouTube behind the scenes, and that's really upsetting. And the other problem with not calling the bullshit is YouTube owns so much of the video entertainment market at this point that it's basically things like Storyfire, that was supposed to be the YouTube killer, they didn't stand a chance. And for people to think they stood a chance in the first place was just ludicrous, because YouTube owns too much of the market. They just dominate it. And there's no way to get rid of them, because they dominate it so much. Anyways, moving on. I've been watching YouTube since I was around 8 years old, and before I make these points I'm about to make, I'd like to say I'm not generalizing certain channels that do certain things. Example, reaction videos, because while some people may be Sniper Wolf, there are other people like Laserbeam who do reaction videos sometimes who are really good. But there's some content on YouTube that's just absolutely disgusting. Because, well, YouTube is a website where you can make any content you want. Meaning that there is a large amount of degenerate content out there. I'm not talking furry content or anything like that. More so things like the insert random dead person calling it 3 a.m. challenge. That literally gets impressionable little children to click on their video thinking it's real because they don't know any better. And taking advantage of them to make money. These are dead people. People like Kobe. I saw a video from this guy named, I think it might have been Jester, might have been a different person. I'm sorry, but Jester's a degenerate either way. So, like, I'm not saying don't send hate to him or anything. I'm not saying send hate to him in the first place, but, like, I'm still gonna flame him for doing these type of, videos. People like Kobe. Imagine, people were, did you see Kobe, like, people, the memorials for Kobe? Kobe changed the way basketball is looked at forever. He was one of the most influential basketball players to ever live. His daughter and himself died. He was what? When did Kobe die? How old is Kobe? He was 41. Dude, that's way too young. And Gigi Bryant was what? 13. And for these degenerates to go onto the internet and make videos pretending to call Kobe Bryant after his family just suffered one of the worst losses ever. To lose your husband. Imagine Vanessa Bryant right now. She lost her husband and her daughter. Imagine that. Imagine losing, pretend you're a wife for a moment. Imagine losing the person you've married and been together with for, what, Kobe was around 20 when he got married, or 20, more like 18. They've been married for around 30 years, or close to 30 years. Think about that. Your husband dies, and then your child. Parents love their children so much. Despite what there are shitty parents out there. There's no denying it, there are shitty parents. But for the most part, all parents love their children. So for a daughter of 13, with her whole life ahead of her, and from what I could tell, she was pretty good at basketball. With her whole life ahead of her, they both died. And 3 hours later, a video gets put up about calling them at 3 a.m. 3 hours after they died. That's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. Anyone who makes that type of content should be ashamed of themselves, because it's just awful. There's no way, like, imagine if your mom and if you had a little brother, imagine if your mom and your little brother died. How heartbroken would you be? And say they were celebrities. Imagine some asshole makes a video on the internet about it 3 hours after they died. Think about it. For